Hello and welcome. Today we're diving into a really profound and, well, pretty strange story from the Buddha's past lives. It's called The Brahman's Pure Land, and it's all about one man's search for a place on earth that was completely pure, a place death had never, ever touched. And as you'll see, that search led him to a truth he could never have imagined. Really think about that for a second. Some piece of land, a mountain, maybe a valley somewhere that's completely free from loss. Is a place like that even possible? Well, that very question is right at the heart of the story we're about to explore together. So let's meet our main character. He's a very wealthy Brahmin named Upasalahaka. Now, even with all his fortune, he had what the old texts call a wrong view. He was obsessed with this idea of physical purity, especially when it came to death. And as he got older, this obsession led him to make a really peculiar request of his very wise son. Can you imagine your father asking you that? Not just for a nice burial plot, but for a piece of land that has never been a cemetery, a place completely pure, untouched by the cycle of death itself. His son, being a good son, but also a practical guy, was pretty stumped. So he just asked his father to show him where on earth a place like that could even exist. And so the two of them set out. They left the city and started climbing the famous Mount Gidjakuta. After looking and looking, the father finally pointed to this secluded little spot nestled between three peaks and said with total confidence, "Here, this is it. This place is pure." He was certain he'd found the perfect spot for his final rest. But here's the thing. That moment didn't go unnoticed. The Buddha, seeing that this father and son were right on the verge of a huge breakthrough, deliberately put himself right in their path as they were coming down the mountain. The story says he waited for them like a hunter, ready to intercept their misguided mission with a timeless truth. So as they met, the Buddha asked them where they'd been. The son explained their very strange quest for pure burial ground, but the Buddhist reply, it was even stranger. He looked at the Brahmin and told him, "This isn't the first time you've looked for this exact spot. This whole quest," he explained, was just an echo from a life the Brahmin couldn't even remember. And right there, on the side of the mountain, the Buddha started to tell a story from a long, long time ago. It was a story about a father and a son, a mountaintop, and the very same search for a pure piece of land. He was about to pull back the curtain on the hidden history of the ground they had just chosen. The story the Buddha told was, well, eerily familiar. Ages ago, a Brahmin with the exact same name, Upasalahaka, had the exact same obsession. He went on the same quest to the same mountain with his son. The only real difference, instead of meeting the Buddha, they met a wise hermit, who is actually the Buddha himself in a past life. You see, the same souls, the same mountain, the same quest, just echoing across time. All right, so let's dive into that story from the past. The hermit sees this Brahmin so determined to find his pure ground, and he takes them back up the mountain to that chosen spot. He was about to tell them the real history of that little piece of earth, a truth that would completely shatter the Brahmin's entire belief system. The hermit began, and you can just imagine his voice echoing between the peaks. At this very place, the Brahmin and his son probably leaned in, expecting to hear him confirm just how pure and special this spot was. But what he said next was something they never, ever could have seen coming. 14,000. The hermit just said the number, and it hung in the air. 14,000. It's a number that carried the weight of countless lifetimes, and a staggering personal truth for the Brahmin. What could it possibly mean? And then came the reveal. The very spot the Brahmin had chosen because it was so pure and untouched was, in fact, his own personal cemetery. In the endless cycle of rebirth, he had been born as a Brahmin named Upasalahaka and had been cremated on that exact patch of ground 14,000 times. The hermit's lesson was crystal clear. The search for a physical place free from death, it's impossible. Every single inch of this world has been a stage for life and death again and again and again. The Brahmin's entire quest had been flawed from the very start. So if true immortality can't be found in a piece of land, where is it? After shattering the Brahmin's old belief, the hermit started to show him the true path. The hermit explained that real immortality, the kind that matters, is found within. It's built on 5 incredible virtues. First up is Sakka. That's truth and wisdom. Then you have Dhamma, which is living a righteous life. Third is Ahimsa, compassion, and not harming any living thing. Fourth is Sanyama, or moral restraint. And finally, Dhamma, which is the self-control to tame your own mind.
And this state, the one you achieve through these virtues, it has a name. Amata, the deathless. See, it's not about your body not dying. It's about cultivating a quality inside yourself that's so profound, so pure, that it transcends the whole cycle of birth and death. It's an internal state, not an external place.
Okay, so let's bring the story all the way back to the present moment. The Brahmin and his son are standing there in front of the Buddha, having just heard this incredible story about their own past lives. And as you can imagine, that shocking revelation and all that wisdom had a really powerful effect. After finishing the tale, the Buddha taught them the Four Noble Truths. And in that moment, something clicked. The Brahmin's lifelong wrong view was just shattered. Both he and his son finally understood the true nature of things. They achieved the first stage of enlightenment, letting go of their search for purity in the soil and finding it right there, within themselves. So what's the ultimate takeaway from this whole incredible story? Well, it's this powerful idea right here. Our bodies, they turn to dust. Mountains eventually wear away. But true virtue, things like compassion, wisdom, integrity, that stuff is timeless. It's the only thing that truly, truly endures. That is the real Pure Land. And that is the story of the Brahmin's Pure Land. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. And as always, may you all be happy.